Hello everyone, and thank you for being a part of the Hanai program. We're sorry you couldn't have joined the in-person orientations, but we've wanted to provide this PowerPoint to give you a brief overview of the program and again, to give you some information about what to expect as you're moving forward. This brief orientation includes three different parts. First is why we need a program at all. Second, why we're calling it the Hanai Mentor Program. And finally, mentor responsibilities during the program. So what is it about our students that requires us to create such a program? The University of Hawaii at Manoa loses between 21 and 24% of its students in the first year. This is often known as our retention rate for our first-time full-time freshmen. For our first-time year resident students, meaning people who live in Hawaii, and of course primarily those are students that come from the island of Oahu, our retention rate is around 87.3%. And that is of course very close to the national average for our peer and benchmark institutions, meaning we're doing okay with our students that come from Oahu. However, compare that to the 66.3% retention rate that is for students who come from the continental United States. These are students who come here from states primarily on the West Coast, but also from states across the United States. It is with this retention rate, combined with our 87.3% retention rate, that we end up with an overall retention rate for our first-time full-time students, which is around 76%, up a little bit last year to 78%. This, of course, puts us well below our peer and benchmark institutions. It also suggests that there's something we can do to improve the experience that our students coming here from out of state have. Now, some of the things and some of the reasons for why they don't stay and why they tend to go home, we can do nothing about. So for example, in the case of many, they never intended to stay here for more than a year. They just intended to experience what it was like to be in Hawaii and then go home. There's not much we can do about that. However, having done leaver surveys for our students over the last couple years and spent some time trying to find out what was happening with this population, we also know that for some, they felt lonely. They didn't feel connections here. They wanted to be closer to home. And we think we can do something about that. The national data suggests that students make a decision to stay or leave a campus within the first few months of attending. And really, if we can provide another connection for them here, an informal one like what we hope to provide through this mentoring program, we hope that we can help alleviate some of those feelings of homesickness and being close to family by providing people with a Hanai family right here on the island. 35% of students that leave in their first year decide to leave because of their experience during that year. And what this program can do is help make that experience a better one for students. We also need this program because it's geared towards improving the experiences of our first year students. How did we get our students this year? We have over 300 students that we've matched with faculty, staff, and alumni, which is a huge increase over last year. What we did this year that was slightly different is we sent out postcards to all students that were coming to Oahu from off-island, meaning the outer islands, or from one of the states in the United States. This did not go out to international students, but hopefully we can think about this population for the future. We also sent this to transfer students coming into the University of Hawaii at Manoa for the first time. It's an overwhelming success, and we thank you all for being part of it. And we hope that this will help improve the experience for the 300 students who have volunteered for the program. So why a Hanai mentoring program? Why use the word Hanai? Many of you probably already know about what this word means in Hawaiian. If we look in the Hawaiian dictionary and the translation from Hawaiian to English, the first word, the first interpretation is what we all probably associate with the word. To foster a child, adopt a child. This is the informal adoption process that is associated with Hanai in the language of Hawaii. But the second one is also an important definition that we take to heart as we develop this program. That is to raise, rear, to feed, to nourish, to sustain, to provide, to caretake. And these are also values that we hope that you'll bring to the Hanai program as you meet your student and help to provide a relationship for them here on island over the next year. Associated with the concept of Hanai is another word that is that of malama, which is to take care of, tend, attend, care for, preserve, etc. We think that these words go together and help to provide the foundation for what we hope the students and you as the Hanai hosts in this particular situation will experience. So what are some of the mentor responsibilities? We didn't design this program to make it very arduous. We want it to be informal and we want it to be fun. So let's talk a little bit about what those are. We hope that you have already connected with your student, and if you have not done so, please connect with your student as soon as possible. To do that, please email them, call them, or text them. When we asked the students to join the program how they preferred to be contacted, and the vast majority of them say that they prefer text, though most of them will respond to email. If you haven't noticed already, though, they'll probably respond to text much quicker than they will to email. And I would suggest that after an initial email, you revert to text messages as the primary form of communication, unless your Hanai student tells you otherwise. Try to meet with your mentor or mentee when he or she arrives on campus. Sometimes, some of the mentors last year met with the parents of their student as well, just to give them a sense of another adult figure on the island that their student could turn toward. Try over the course of the semester, if not over the year, to meet with your mentee at least once a month. Now, this is just an informal guideline. From our experience last year with our 78 students, it would turn out that some met weekly and some met every other month and some never really met at all. They just texted each other to touch base. I know from my experience with my mentee, we met probably once or twice every other month or so. I touched base with him via text a variety of other times, and I certainly made myself available for him whenever he needed help with anything. The program itself runs through the end of the academic year, but again, what we noted from last year is that after the first few months, the students began to meet people and develop their own social networks, and the connection to their Hanai mentor slowly became less important. This seemed to be a natural progression over time, and of course we know that you're all busy too, and so trying to fit the work of meeting with your student into your own schedule is a challenge. So don't feel like you need to meet with someone over the entire academic year, but be available for them if they need that from you. I should note, of course, that my Hanai student from last year didn't stop being my Hanai student just because the academic year ended. And so I will be meeting with him again this year, along with the new students that I've taken on. And I think that'll make a nice sort of way of continuing a relationship with a student who shares some common interest with me. So things to keep in mind as you're connecting with your student. Try to be active about staying in touch with them for the first few months. Again, this is really the critical time for students as they're coming to campus and meeting new friends and trying to build new social networks. Again, try to meet with your student in person at least once a month if possible. But please remember that your students are under 21. These are 18-year-olds for the most part. Some of them may not even be 18. And so please plan accordingly. That should generally mean that you are not engaging in any kind of activities that requires them to go to bars that would be over 21, though we'd hope you probably wouldn't be doing those kinds of things anyway. If you're going off campus, we encourage you to provide a group environment of some sort, either with another student, and some of you thankfully have agreed to Hanai or mentor more than one student, and or with your own family and friends. So for example, I'm a rock climber and my Hanai students are also rock climbers, and I'll be taking all of them climbing together. While this is an informal relationship, we want to be clear that there should be no blurring of boundaries between yourself and the student. There is a consensual relationship policy in the FAQs. We hope that you'll go and read the link to that. But again, this is a mentoring program, and so we would hope that you'll keep those boundaries fairly clear. We do have some ideas for initial meetings. There is a week of welcome events calendar that's already been put up on the website at the University of Hawaii at Manoa, and you could attend some of those events. Associated with that is the Valina Manoa event, which will happen Monday, August 20th from 3:30 to 6 p.m., and that will take place on and around the campus center. There'll be bands, there'll be lots of booths, there'll be food, and last year it was a huge success, and hopefully this could be a chance for you to meet with your student and learn more and about the university as well as welcome them back in. We would invite you to meet with your student and their family, if possible, for coffee on campus before the family leaves, and or the student themselves on campus at any point during the semester. We have also put together a schedule of events that we'll be sending out via email, and on that schedule, a variety of things that we've sort of planned that you could do with other Hanai mentors and their students this year. For example, we have tickets for 100 faculty staff and alumni to attend the volleyball game with their students. And so we'll be sending out a sign-up sheet for that in case you'd like to attend a sporting event with your student. There are lots of ideas for outside work hours, though of course there is no assumption that you'll do things outside of work hours with your student. However you do, you could invite your student to attend a seminar or event that you are already planning to attend. So for example, in the past, when I've thought of attending one of the plays sponsored by the campus, I would invite my Hanai student to come with me and my friends. You could include your student in hikes, beach days, cultural events, other things that you may do. One thing to be alerted to is if your student is here over the holidays, see if you can include them in your holiday plans. They may of course make plans to go home, but sometimes Thanksgiving holiday especially is a difficult one for out-of-state students to travel home for and come back for, given that they still have a couple weeks left of the semester to complete. And so just be sensitive to that. I would also like to note that students don't necessarily have a car. In fact, the vast majority of our first-year students will not have a car. And so not only are they amazingly grateful for any kind of transportation you can provide for them, but you should also be aware that if you're asking them to meet you off campus, or if you're asking them to meet you at an event that is off campus, it may be difficult for them to get there without you picking them up. And so consider the transportation issues when making plans to do events. Finally, remember that your primary responsibility is to the student's safety. So if something comes up and you don't know how to address it, and this could be advising issues, it could be discrimination they are facing, it could be sexual harassment, it could be just simply having some emotional troubles, be sure that the student is able to access the relevant resources and services on campus. If you have questions about this, do not hesitate to email Campus Help. Don't hesitate to email me. This is Debbie Halbert. That would be Halbert, Halbert, @hawaii.edu. And of course, we have a list in the FAQs with links to a variety of services we offer on campus. So please make use of those lists and make sure that your student gets any help that they may need. Thank you. That's pretty much all we needed to say. If this was the in-person discussion, we would really be going into an open Q&A right now. If you have questions, please do not hesitate to contact me in order to answer those at any time. Thanks.